Hello fellow YouTubers, and welcome to my Japanese grammar series where we will learn about the various grammar points that exist in the Japanese language. Today we will be discussing how to express one's desires to want to do something using the verb ending grammar tai. And we will also be looking at takunai, which is used to express one's desires to not want to do something. Plus we will look at garu, which is used to express what someone else may want to do. Now, before we get started here, you will need to know how to turn a verb into the stem form. Now, on my last Japanese grammar video, I talked about how to conjugate verbs into the nagara form by first using the stem form. For those of you that are unsure on how to use the stem form of a verb, you can visit my last Japanese grammar nagara video for a thorough explanation. I will also be adding a link to that video on my end cards after this video. So let's start off here with a basic Japanese sentence. I want to eat sushi. In Japanese it would be sushi wo tabetai desu. Now for this sentence you can use wo or ga, but I think it's best to stick with the wo particle because there's certain verbs that just don't work well with the ga particle. And as usual, you can add des at the end of the sentence if you want to be polite. Essentially, what you're expressing here is your desire to want to eat sushi. And the construction of this sentence is made possible by taking the stem of the verb taberu, which is tabe, and attaching tai at the end, then we get tabetai. Now, if you want to say I don't want to eat anything, in Japanese that would be nani mo tabetaku nai desu. Or if you want to be even more polite, you can say nani mo tabetaku arimasen. Now the beauty about this grammar point is that it can be used to make quick and informal requests or refusals. For example, I want to eat, tabetai. I don't want to eat, tabetakunai. I want to sleep, netai. I don't want to sleep, netakunai. I want to play, asobitai. I don't want to play, asobitakunai. So that's pretty straightforward, but now comes the difficult part, expressing what someone else wants to do. For this, you will have to use the grammar point garu. In Japanese, when speaking in the third person speech pattern, you would not be able to use tai. You would have to use garu. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're talking in the second person speech pattern, you would still be able to use tai. For example, let's say you're talking to your good friend John, and you ask John directly if he wants to eat something, then you can still use tai. For example, John, do you want to eat something? Jong-san, nani ka tabetai no? This is acceptable. However, this changes if you're talking in the third person speech pattern. Let's say, for example, that your good friend John comes over for dinner, and you're talking to your family about John and his desire to want to eat something, then you would have to use garu. For example, you could say something like, Jong-san wa nani ka o tabetagatte iru. This roughly translates into, it seems like John really wants to eat something. And this is because when speaking in Japanese, we can never assume of what the other person wants to do. We can only guess of what they want to do. We can never assume of what they want. Even though in English, we assume all the time about what someone wants. In Japanese, this would be incorrect. This is kind of a cultural difference here. Another good example of the usage of garu would be if you look over to John and you see that John is fidgeting in his seat and he won't sit still. In that case, you can look at your family and say, Jong-san wa otearai ni ikitagatte iru. It looks like John really wants to go to the bathroom. Now, a quick note about this is that you would never be able to use garu to negate this sentence. So you would never be able to say, Jong-san wa otearai ni ikitagatte inai. This is incorrect. Instead, you would have to use a different grammar point, like for example, so desu or to omoimasu. So you could say, instead of saying ikitagatte inai, which is incorrect, you can say something like, Jong-san wa otearai ni ikitaku nasasou desu. It seems like John does not want to go to the bathroom. Or, using to omoimasu, you can say, Jong-san wa otearai ni ikitaku nai to omoimasu. I think that John does not want to go to the bathroom. So that was it for today's lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this lesson as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And as usual, never ever give up. Hai minasan, akirame nai de kudasai. Ganbaro!